What up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your boy, Family Fist. Welcome back to another episode of the Chill Zone. I originally was going to make a rant video and just upload it, but like I said, nobody watches my normal content. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll go live and I'll just do my rant there. Because you guys seem to watch more of this than my, like, actual content. So, whatever. It's not going to be a long video. I'm just here to talk about like the big news, and also probably the most repeating news that's been coming out at least once, twice every year since 2018. And that is, of course, my favorite gaming service on the market, but the most hated one amongst the industry, Game Pass. And man, oh man, what a fucking doozy, man. But it almost feels like it's like a yearly checkup routine because of like, if I don't see a developer or if I don't see somebody bitching or praising Game Pass, then there's something extremely wrong. So, lo and behold, fucking, today happened to be that day where fucking negativity happens to come out. And I already saw my appraisal of the year, and that was earlier at the beginning of this year is where I saw it. But before we get into that, I'll wait a few minutes and see if we can get some more people up in this bitch. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll talk about that too as well. I'll bring that up there after my little Game Pass spiel rant. Because I think a lot of gamers are overreacting to that, and I'll explain my reasons as to why. Actually, I guess while we're waiting, I'll bring this up real quick about Helldivers 2, because I mean that's a valid question to be asking. I personally, I'm happy that it's coming to Xbox. I prefer to play my games on Xbox than I do on any other platform, and that's nothing to shun off fucking the PS5. Switch, however, though, is, I mean, fuck that console, but I could have easily bought it on the PS5. The problem is that I game share with my best friend, and now that it's coming to Xbox, I have even more of a reason now to buy it on Xbox because I could play it with her, which is fucking great. And of course, it's not going to be on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to be there day one to support it. So it is what it is. I don't have an issue at all with it. Although I have seen my fair share of Sony fans going off the deep end on social media about the announcement for it that transpired over the last 24 hours. I think people need to calm the fuck down and relax. For my money, I think it's just relatively hilarious. Because now people are saying some wild shit, even on the Xbox side too as well. I've seen people coming out and saying, "Oh, now I can't wait for God of War. I can't wait for Spider-Man and all this other shit to come to Xbox." And it's like, dude, you guys are so far gone and so far up the company's asshole, man, that you are so blinded to what they're doing. You know what I mean? And it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like, I don't know, like. Helldivers 2 falls into the same category as to what happened with Death Stranding. Is it an IP owned by Sony? Of course it is. But it's a live service game, man. And plus fucking, you know what I mean? But they don't own Arrowhead. You know what I'm saying? It's like how Sony doesn't own Kojima. Like, people need to fucking calm down, man. It's not the end of the world. I don't know why people were fucking freaking out about that. What up, Savage? How you doing, buddy? But yeah, no, but that's my overall thoughts with Helldivers 2. I'm buying it. I'm supporting it. Not only out of respect for Arrowhead, because the game is going to be a fucking phenomenal game, but out of the aspect that, I buy stuff on Xbox. I know that maybe it's very, very difficult for some people to believe, but I mean, whatever. And I don't blame people for doubting that because, I mean, let's be honest. We're talking about a fan base that, wasn't buying games pre-Game Pass, and now they still do the same thing post-Game Pass. So it is what it is. I think Helldivers definitely sold well enough to the point where now everything that they fucking sell now is just profit on their hands. So by them releasing it on fucking Xbox is not that big of an issue. Even though they should, I'm pretty sure Arrowhead is definitely aware of the potential no buys from a lot of gamers on this side. But like I said, man, I mean, that's been a plague on Xbox since last generation before Game Pass existed. And it's still going on to this day. And of course, people use Game Pass as that answer, like to that, which I find relatively retarded, only because of the fact that, like, if Game Pass is the reason why it was invented because of the lack of gamers not buying content on the Xbox, why are we still using that as an excuse to, like, in 2025? You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's kind of redundant because now you are virtually beating a dead horse at this point. You know what I mean? That kind of fucked up shit. But yeah, anyways, but speaking of the subject of Game Pass, let me go ahead and get into that fucking aspect of it. So there was a developer, an ex-developer that used to work for Arcane Studios. But he up and left the studio back in 2014. So this was even before Game Pass even existed. Comes out on Twitter or whatever social media. I'm pretty sure it's Twitter, but I could be wrong. It could also be Blue Sky. I don't fucking know. And literally came out and basically said, why is no one talking about the elephant in the room? Cough, cough, Game Pass. He put in brackets. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, God, here we go. Oh, God. But one takeaway, though, and I've said this for years now on this channel, and I even said it too as well on the Roundtable podcast as well. Game Pass should be specifically designed for indie developers and smaller fucking titles. You know what I mean? Where developers can get exposure without having to fork over a lot of money for marketing and stuff like that. AAA is a system that's designed where fucking it should sell itself. You know what I mean? Those are the games that are going to have the investments behind marketing. It's going to be up front to a lot of these conventions and whatever the case may be, and showcased often a lot of showcases, whatever you want to call it, that we get throughout the year. That crazy shit. But indies, even though now we're seeing indies be bigger and more in the spotlight, which I'm very, very happy to see, because a lot of these indie games are definitely deserve to be played. Whereas AAA is taking more of a backseat from a marketing aspect of it from these showcases. And that just makes me super happy because I like to see smaller studios fucking become more successful. You know what I mean? Because I don't want AAA to be even more successful and be more greedy and egregious in the long run like they already have become over the last fucking 2 decades. Or the last decade, I should say, to be fair. That said, though, oh, Jesus Christ. That said, let me go ahead and continue on with the conversation that this guy had on Twitter. So he opens it up by saying, let's address the elephant in the room, cough, cough, Game Pass, whatever the case may be. And again, this is just your typical yearly, I don't know if it's like, I'm not going to say disgruntled because I'm not going to be an asshole, but a typical year where another developer comes out and addresses about why Game Pass is fucking bad for the industry. It's horrible. It's dog shit. The same typical shit we see every fucking year. You know what I mean? And of course, it's met with the exact same fucking people saying the exact same shit every fucking year that respond to it, make videos about it, and whatever the case may be. I mean, I guess I fall into the category too as well, making videos, but although I never really bring this up per se as a standalone video or like as a main topic on my podcast, but there's a reason why I'm doing it in this one. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. This ex-employee from Arcane goes off. He goes, I think Game Pass, and I want to read this clearly now. I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging to the industry for a decade. Subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money, quote-unquote shit, even though that so many people took that out of context. But at the same point, reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models They'll either kill everyone else or give up. Well, okay. First of all, that is the most ludicrous fucking, like, quote that you can virtually say about a service. Now, remember, this is a guy that doesn't even work in the industry anymore. He up and left Arcane back in 2014. So this is pre Game Pass. You know what I mean? So he's only looking in at some of the developers that maybe he might have in contact with or some shit like that. But I digress. But the interesting aspect of it, though, is one of the lead developers from Larian Studios, which, now, for the record, I fucking love, absolutely adore Larian Studios, man. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to be the game of the generation for me. And every game that they have made, like from Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, like, just, I fucking adore Larian, man. So anyways, the developer from Larian comes out and he says, quote unquote, what happens when all the money runs out, unquote, is the most vocal concern in my network and one of the main economic reasons people I know haven't shifted to its business model. And I agree with that 100%. There are a lot of developers that do worry about that, and I've talked to a couple devs that basically said the same thing to me, and I completely understand that, 100%. The infinite money thing fucking never made any sense. That's because it was taken out of context. Oh, Jesus Christ. But I'm not even going to get into that because that's something that was said like 6 years ago, and I'm not going to bring up fucking old ass stupid news, man, because that shit's retarded. Anyways, so he goes on to say, so the Arcane developer or ex-Arcane developer replies back and says, I agree, I'm fed up with all of the bullshit they fed us at the first, like, quote, don't worry, it doesn't impact fucking the sales, unquote. Okay, that has always never been true. Yes, it was said, absolutely, but I'm talking about it in the context of what they're trying to say. Yes, fucking being on a live service like Game Pass or being on a service like Game Pass or Netflix or whatever the fuck service it is, you're going to impact sales regardless. You know what I mean? Think about it from the aspect of like back in the day when you used to rent games from Blockbuster. You know what I mean? You could have went out and bought the game for fucking $50-$60, depending on what generation you're part of. Or you can go out and rent it for like $5 a night or $5 for a weekend or whatever. The same rules apply here. You know what I mean? It's either you buy it or you pay for a subscription service and you just play it on that. But the thing is, it doesn't impact sales. That can also go in the aspect of how the developer approaches fucking getting their game on the service. What package bundle do they take? There was an article that came out, I think it was like in 2021 or some shit, or 2020 or something like that, where Phil came out and broke down fucking how Game Pass works for developers. You know what I mean? The developer will go to Xbox and be like, hey, we have this game, blah, 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 blah. Fucking, they'll either create their own package for how they, like, you know what I mean, to put the game on the service, or Microsoft can fund the entire project so that whatever sales that developer gets from the console side is pure profit. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this guy, like, that the ex-employee actually knows about that, but even if he doesn't, it doesn't excuse the fact that he's technically not wrong, especially how most people didn't even read that article to begin with. And why should they? I mean, if you don't care about a console company like Xbox, you ain't going to be going around and researching fucking shit about Xbox. You're going to be too busy researching stuff about fucking PlayStation or whatever your platform of choice is. Yes, it does affect sales in general, though. It does, indeed. But again, like I said, it also boils down to as well from a developer's perspective as to what kind of deal they make to get into the service. Which again, I think plays a big part as to what a lot of people don't necessarily see. And to be fair, we probably never will see that because these developers are not going to come out and say, hey, I took this route to get my game into a Game Pass service, or I took this route. You know what I mean? But whatever. But anyway, so the Larian Studio developer comes back and replies back regarding cannibalization of sales. Quote unquote, he says, "We ain't seeing that," which is a quote that Phil basically said. But I think that's in regards to their first party, not in regards to third party content that Microsoft cannot see their business structure of. So when he's saying that, I think he technically means first party wise. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And there's a good reason why he would say that, and that kind of makes a little bit more sense, but we'll discuss that here later. The economics never made sense, but at the same time, I do recognize that for smaller teams with new or riskier IPs is helped. Which again, it is, and that's what Game Pass is there to do. It's their first party shit that, again, people have been saying this now fucking since day one, that, you know, that fucking Microsoft is really technically only hurting their own studios and themselves by putting their own first party on the service day one. He was basically saying that he much prefers Sony's lifecycle management strategy, which I think a lot of developers do, and that's why a lot of developers make exclusives over on PlayStation because of that very given aspect. So anyways, he goes, yeah, the only way Game Pass can coexist without hurting everyone is for the back catalog. Once again, you know, no mention of the studios that have released games on that service that got massive exposure. High on Life is a prime example of that. Boom, now we're getting a sequel. Descenders is another prime example of that. And that developer has even come out and even made formal statements fucking defending the service and shit like that in the past. And there's also other games too as well recently too that has garnered a lot of exposure because of the service. And the thing is, the exposure can lead to sales on other fucking platforms, which it does. And a prime example of that would be fucking what do you call it here? This right here. So people tend to fucking ignore that, you know, that Xbox releases their shit on PC. Has anybody ever thought to themselves as to why Microsoft does that? Because everybody's been so fixated and fluctuated with this whole entire narrative that, oh, gamers don't want shit that Xbox makes, right? And look, to be fair, you know, a lot of people don't really pay attention to the PC side, and for very good reasons, even though everybody wants everybody to move to PC and call it a fucking day, but they don't look at the bigger picture of things. You know what I mean? And I think this is also where when Xbox comes out and says that, yeah, it can be sustainable, I can kind of understand from the perspective of why they might be saying that, because we're not seeing the platform where it sells the most because nobody gives a fuck about that platform. You know what I mean? Sea of Thieves sells 15 fucking million copies on Steam. 15 on Steam alone. That's not counting fucking PS5 sales that came out last year recently, or Xbox sales since the actual inception of fucking Sea of Thieves. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty fucking sure that Sea of Thieves definitely made its money back and then some, man, when it comes to that game being on a live service and being a day one fucking release on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Grounded. Another prime example. Sure, you may think to yourself that 4.1 million is not that very good. But first of all, two reasons why it is pretty good, actually. One, because this is a game that came out in early access. The game wasn't even fucking finished yet. Two, you guys need to understand that survival base building games is a very, very popular genre on the PC front. You know what I mean? And three, the budget for Grounded was not that very big to begin with. It was a small fucking title that Obsidian made, that Obsidian did outside their comfort zone, I may remind you. But you got people telling me that Microsoft is not allowing these developers any kind of freedom and shit. Which is, for my money, just another staple narrative that I keep fucking hearing. But again, if you know the history of Obsidian, they would have never, ever, ever made this type of game or a game like fucking Pentiment, dude. Even though, what's his name there? Josh Schwarzer was trying to fucking get fucking Pentiment made a long time ago, but nobody cared to fucking pay attention to his actual fucking idea. Microsoft sure did. You know what I mean? But regardless of that, what I'm trying to say is, man, is that A lot of the bulk of the sales that Xbox gets from their games, it's not from the console side. It's mainly on the PC side. You know what I mean? And I think that's perfectly normal. I think that's the way it should technically be because Microsoft is a PC centric company, man. Oh, and by the way, Garuda, how many fucking times did I tell you that Xbox was going to come out with its own handheld? You owe me $100, bitch. I'm just kidding. You don't owe me shit, dude. But I fucking told you, dude, that they fucking would, and you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't fucking listen to me, dog. You would not fucking heed my advice, sir. Now I get to enjoy fucking listening to you eat your own fucking crow, bitch. No, I'm just playing with you, buddy. How you doing, Garuda? But regardless of any of that crap, all I'm saying is, man, is that at the end of the day, like, I'm not saying that Game Pass does not hurt the industry or hurt developers. Obviously it does, because there's been examples of developers who have come out and expressed their anger, their frustrations, and their criticizations of the service itself. So I'm not going to deny that. And I wouldn't dare to, because you're already banking on the aspect of losing a lot of money up front from sales when you put it on a service that people can pay $15 a month for. You know what I mean? Or $25 a month for if you live in Canada, like me. So yeah, it's common fucking sense, people. But at the end of the day, why is it that so many fucking people ignore the games that have had so much success on there? They never question, oh, how come this developer have repeatedly released their games fucking day one, their new IPs day one on the service? How come these developers keep fucking re-entering the service all the fucking time? You see what I'm saying? Nobody wants to question that because nobody wants to talk about anything positive about a service. You know what I mean? Like, and for my money, that's kind of ridiculous, man, to be fair, because, you know, if PS Plus was doing the same thing, like, not even doing the same thing, even if every once in a while, and they've done this already with, like, Sifu and fucking Kina, when they do put day one games up there from third parties and indies, whatever the case may be, they've all been fucking blockbuster hits, man. Kina was great. Sifu was fucking phenomenal. Stray was fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it, man. Because, like, I've said this also, too, as well, that Microsoft should not put their big games, like Gears, Halo, Forza, Fable, you know what I mean? Those types of games should not be on the fucking Game Pass service. Release the multi-platform, that's fine. But games like Grounded and Pentiment and smaller titles and stuff like that, right? Those games should be on Game Pass, man. Ones that are not going to take a fucking fortune to recover your fucking money back. I think that would actually make that service a little bit more it would be faster as far as sustainability goes. But at the same time, is those big blockbuster games like the new Halo, like the new Gears that's coming out with E-Day and fucking whatever the case may be, is that going to fluctuate into people buying the games? Maybe, but definitely not on the fucking Xbox platform, because how did we get here in the first place? You know what I mean? Because I've been hearing the same shit now for the last decade. You know, Xbox gamers don't buy their shit. All right, well, if they don't buy their fucking games, then why do you guys keep bringing it up every time you talk about Game Pass, man? You know what I mean? If Game Pass was invented for that reason, why do you still cop to that answer? It's kind of dumb and redundant, man. Bro, if you gifted me $100 right now, dude, I would shit my fucking pants on the live stream, dog. And I'm not even kidding. I mean, after all, now that I remember it, it was technically a bet, but I'm not going to I don't care. Do what you want to do, Garuda. But regardless of that, though, do I think Game Pass is an overall fucking shitty fucking thing for the industry? No, because the industry is still fucking doing fine, even with its fucking in its own fucking shit. PlayStation's still thriving. Sure, they may not be fucking, you know, doing what the old school PlayStation that I once fucking loved before is doing nowadays, but I still fucking respect them for being in the industry and doing what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? They're keeping with their guns. They're making their first party shit. It's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. They just may not be games that I'm attracted to. But again, dude, like, give me more Astrobot, bring back Hot Shots Golf, which is what they're doing. I'm in. You know what I mean? You will forever keep me on that fucking platform or wanting to keep supporting that platform generation after generation. You know what I mean? Xbox is technically the same way now too as well because they own studios that I fucking love, dude. The Ninja Theories, fucking Obsidian, In Exile. You know, studios that mainly were centric on PC. I'm not talking about Ninja Theory, but In Exile and Obsidian mainly used to be fucking centric on PC. I denounced my pony status. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, regardless of that though, like, Game Pass can definitely coexist. Because it has coexisted over the last fucking 6 fucking years. 7 years. Whatever, however the fucking long Game Pass has been around. And if, like, you know what I mean? And if the numbers are, if Game Pass is going to be capped out at like fucking 40 to 45 million tops, then who fucking cares? If they do fucking decide to give up and say, fuck it, we're not even going to bother with that, and we're just going to keep going like third party and say, fuck everything else, not make a console or make a PC console, then who the fuck cares, dude? As long as I get access to their shit on a different platform, dude, then I don't give a flying fuck. Because there would be no difference to that when Sega went and took the fucking high water out, dude. You know what I mean? Although, to be fair, I would love to have Sega back in the console space, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is. Especially after what Nintendo's doing now, I'm sure Sega's sitting back and being like, fuck, we left too soon, boys. You know what I mean? Well, I'll believe it when I see it there, Garuda. I'll believe it when I see it, sir. Regardless of all that crap, though, why do I keep saying that? Fucking regardless shit. But anyways, fuck all that noise. What was I gonna say now? Oh yeah, the Xbox fucking PC shit. So you guys know now, I've been saying this now for a while, that I said Xbox, you know, is building is something that's going to support like Steam and Epic Game Store and whatever the case may be. And people are like, oh, it's just going to be a PC with a console shell over top of it. I'm like, yeah, pretty much basically what the Series S is right now. And they're like, no, the Series S is a console fatal. I'm like, true, it is, but there's a lot of PC-centric shit that the Xbox fucking Series consoles can do, though. And then when I tell them what it can do, you know what I mean? Like torrenting, fucking downloading files off a torrent and shit. You know what I mean? Microsoft definitely made some tweaks so that you can't download torrents anymore. But you can do a lot of things that you can do on Windows, you know what I mean? Like, whereas on the PlayStation, it's way more restrictive for that. And so I keep telling people, like, dude, it's also running its own custom version of a fucking Windows. You know what I mean? So Series X and the Series S is pretty much basically a fucking compact PC with limitations on it. Is that make it a console? I'm like, well, yeah, it still makes it a console, but it's not a PC. I'm like, motherfucker, did you not hear what I just said? Are you retarded? Are you slow? Are you dumb? What the fuck are you wrong with you? It's going to be a PC console shell over top of it. It's not. Who knows? There might even still be restrictions on it, man. It's not. It might not even be as open as people think that it's going to be. You know what I mean? Because if all you're doing is switching between different video game stores that you could buy shit, then it could still be a closed fucking platform. You're just opening up a fucking app. Like, come on now, man. Well, I need your email there, Garuda. Give me your email and fucking I'll send you a message right now. I'll send you an email right now giving you well, actually I don't even need to give you my email because the email that I give to you fucking will be part of the email that I send to you, so it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Hold on. There you are. All right, there you go. I sent you an email. And all it is the title. But that's the email that I use there, Garuda, the one that you'll see. Because you'll see the sent from. That's my email. No, I'm talking about their next gen console. They're fucking savage. They've already confirmed that it will have that stuff. You're going to be able to boot up into the Windows Store or the Steam fucking store or the Epic Game Store. They're already doing that on the fucking ROG Ally. You know what I mean? That's a preview of what they're planning on doing with their next gen fucking console. Like, yeah, Garuda, actually, you know what? Here, I'll delete it for you, dude, because you don't want your email being fucking spammed and shit. Let me remove that. There you go. Listen, I told people that Flintlock was going to be a good game. Nobody wants to listen, dude. But yeah, I'm going to finish this smoke. I'm going to get my ass out of here. Like I said, this was going to be short. I just wanted to, if I could talk about the whole Game Pass shit. Like, will Game Pass eventually, like, go away and whatever the case may be? Even if it does, I don't fucking care, dude. You know what I mean? All Game Pass is doing for me right now is allowing me to explore the games that I normally wouldn't be able to fucking afford to buy alongside something else that just recently came out. So it is what it is. All right, cool, man. No worries. But, all right, guys, man, I want to thank y'all for popping in my chat. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you, Garuda. Thank you there, Savage. I appreciate that. Latency, I know you're in here, dude. I see you, dude. Don't worry. I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that you're in here. Same with you there, Anonymous Boss. As always, thank you for being the first in here. I appreciate you, man, your support. I really, really do. And, okay, so, to answer your question about Half-Life 3, I think at this point, most people, man, honestly, dude, probably won't really care as much fucking for Half-Life 3, because it's been way too fucking long. People have been waiting for a sequel for that, dude. But we'll see. Who knows? I could be entirely wrong, dude. Could be entirely wrong. I'm glad that you fuck with fucking Flintlock there, Garuda, man. I told people that game was good, but people just fucking ignore it because it looks janky. Oh, I gotta play as a female protagonist. Fuck off. All right, guys, man. I'm out this bitch, man. I'll catch you guys here on the flip side, dude. Love, peace, chicken grease.